One Piece Books presents The Rising of the Shield Hero, Volume 8, by Aneko Yusagi. Performed by Matthew Bridges. Prologue. The Never-Ending Labyrinth.
Fumi-san? Naofumi-san?
Someone shook me awake. I could hear them shouting my name over the persistent dripping of water. I was dizzy and shook my head to try to steady my senses as I slowly sat up to get my bearings.
Oh, thank goodness. Naofumi-san.
Rishio looked at me, her eyes filled with worry. She sat with her legs splayed out like a duck. Where are we?
I don't really know.
I looked around the room. It was a small dark room with walls built of stone, very dank and depressing. Behind me was a pile of damp straw on the ground. A crude bed lay in the other corner, and iron grating formed the far wall. It looks like a prison.
What?
What the hell was going on? I climbed to my feet and analyzed the situation further. The iron grate made it clear that we were in a prison cell of some kind. But geez, how did we end up here? My memory was still fuzzy with sleep. I better go over everything I can remember and try to clear my head. My name is Naofumi Iwatani. I was a normal university student with otaku tendencies back in Japan, but that all changed on the day I went to the library and found a book called The Records of the Four Holy Weapons. I started to read it, only to find myself summoned to another world and treated as if I were one of the characters from the book. The Shield Hero. The people that summoned me said they needed me to save the world from a great calamity called the Waves. At first I was thrilled to find myself in a new dreamlike world, but things didn't end up going so smoothly. Despite the fact that the people in charge of the country, Melromark, had summoned me to their world of their own accord, they didn't waste any time framing me for a rape I never committed so that they could throw me out into the streets, penniless and alone. Eventually, after going through all sorts of hardships and trials, I was able to get rid of the people who were behind a conspiracy to destroy me, the Shield Hero. I was finally cleared of all charges, and the people that had framed me were punished. Finally cleared of the charges against me, it was time to fight against the Waves as a true hero. Or so I thought. As it turned out, there was still plenty of trouble waiting for me. The first problem was the most fundamental. I was summoned to serve as the Shield Hero, but the Shield Hero was specialized for defense and was completely unable to attack enemies on his own. I was one of 4 holy heroes, and the other 3 were heroes of the sword, spear, and bow. All of them had been summoned from Japan, just like I had been. But there were many different Japans in different dimensions, and none of them came from the same one that I had. What's that? Why do I remember all this stuff about them? The important thing about the other heroes is that back in their own worlds, all 3 of them had played games that were remarkably similar to the new world that we had all been summoned to. The world we found ourselves in really did have a lot in common with video games. People had levels and stats. We earned experience points by defeating monsters, and those points could be used to raise your abilities. Naturally, there was magic, and the world was stalked by creatures I'd never seen in Japan. Because you could grow stronger by battling your way through the world, obviously any information you had ahead of time would be useful. But the other 3 heroes liked to keep secrets. They didn't care at all about the conspiracies that had been plotted against me. And they certainly didn't care enough to tell me any of the things they knew about this new world. After I'd been cleared of all the charges leveled against me, I was able to convince the other heroes to sit down together so we could discuss what we knew about how to power up our weapons.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?